Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever been scrolling through your feed just looking at hundreds of posts, and then it hits you, you haven't actually shared anything yourself in weeks, maybe even months or years? Well, if that's you, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to get into one of the biggest, most fascinating mysteries of the internet, the silent majority.
Just take a look at this. This is often called the 1% rule of the internet, and honestly, it's kind of staggering when you see it laid out. It basically suggests that for every 100 people online, only one person is actively creating brand new content. Just one. Maybe 9 others will chime in, comment or share something, but that massive 90%, well, they're the spectators. They're the audience. They watch, they read, they scroll, but they rarely, if ever, hit post.
And that brings us to the real heart of the matter, doesn't it? Who exactly makes up this enormous 90%? Is it just a passive habit, or is there something way deeper going on here? Why do so many of us choose to watch the digital world go by instead of jumping in and adding our own voice?
To figure that out, we're going to go on a little psychological journey. We need to move past the simple and kind of judgmental labels and really get inside the mind of the silent spectator. Let's try to understand their motivations, their fears, and their very deliberate reasons for staying quiet.
Okay, first things first. We have got to talk about that word, lurker. It's a common label, for sure, but it also comes with a lot of negative baggage and some pretty big misconceptions. So let's start by busting a few of those myths.
So, myth number 1, people who don't post are antisocial or shy or disconnected. But the reality? It's often the complete opposite. A lack of public posting doesn't mean a lack of connection at all. Many people just prefer to share things differently, through private DMs and small group chats, or hey, even an actual face-to-face conversation.
And what about this one? The idea that silent users just have nothing interesting to say. Again, that is a huge misunderstanding. For so many, silence isn't emptiness. It's a conscious choice. It's about being incredibly selective about what you put out into the world and placing a really high value on your own privacy over public performance.
Okay, so if it's not about being antisocial or uninteresting, then what is it about? Well, it turns out we can actually break down that huge 90% into a few pretty distinct psychological profiles, each with its own unique reasons for hanging back on the sidelines.
First up, let's meet the privacy guardian. I mean, the name really says it all, doesn't it? For this person, protecting their personal space is, and always will be, priority number 1. You see, the privacy guardian isn't really motivated by fear. They're motivated by principle. They just value their personal boundaries way more than they value likes or shares. They're super aware of data collection and their digital footprint, and they truly believe that some moments are just too personal, too precious to be broadcast to the world.
And this quote just nails their entire philosophy. They see social media as a giant stage, and they've made a very deliberate decision to be in the audience, not standing under the spotlight. Their life simply isn't a show for everyone else to consume.
All right, next up, let's meet a totally different kind of spectator, the information gatherer. For this person, social media isn't primarily social at all. It's a utility. It's a tool.
This user is on a mission. They have carefully curated their feed into a personalized library, or maybe a real-time news service for their hobbies and professional interests. They follow experts and specific topics with a super clear goal in mind: to learn. From their point of view, posting is just a distraction. It's noise that gets in the way of their main objective.
And there you have it, summed up perfectly. Their approach is efficient, it's focused, and it's completely purpose-driven. They are very active consumers of information, not creators of social chatter.
Now, our third profile takes us into some more complex, more emotional territory. Let's talk about the anxious observer. For this person, the decision not to post is driven by a really powerful set of internal pressures.
So the key thing to understand here is the immense psychological weight of public sharing. The anxious observer is painfully aware of potential judgment. They worry constantly about how a post might be received, if people will misunderstand it, or if it will attract criticism. This leads to this paralyzing pressure to be perfect, and well, the easiest way to avoid all that stress is simply not to post at all.
This question, it just gets right to the very heart of their anxiety, that fear of social rejection. Even on a tiny scale, like a post getting 0 likes, can be incredibly powerful. For the anxious observer, silence is a form of self-protection. It's a shield.
So we have these different profiles, right? But what's the actual psychological impact of being a spectator day in and day out? Well, it's not all one-sided.
It turns out there are some very real benefits, but there are also some pretty significant drawbacks.
This table breaks it down beautifully. On the plus side, by not posting, you can experience way less digital stress. You can sidestep a lot of that toxic social comparison and maybe even have a more authentic sense of who you are that isn't tied to online validation. But, and it's a big but, the flip side can be tough. It can lead to a serious case of FOMO, that fear of missing out, and it can also create these nagging feelings of disconnection or a sense of being passively isolated from the communities you're watching.
So, where does all this leave us? I think it's high time we completely reframe how we think about the silent scroll. It's not just about lurking, it's about something much, much more nuanced and intentional.
And this right here is probably the most important takeaway from all of this. Silence online is not an absence of thought or personality or connection. It is a vast spectrum of conscious choices. Whether it's to guard your privacy, to learn more efficiently, or to protect your own mental health, these are all valid, powerful, and deeply human reasons to stay quiet.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought to mull over. In an online culture that is constantly, relentlessly pressuring everyone to shout, to perform, and to share every little thing, what is the real power and what is the true value of making the deliberate choice to simply listen?
Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more educational psychology videos from Psychology of Everyday People.